Hey y'all, it's Rob at Z Motorsports. Been working on my carbon fiber hood. Got this used a couple years ago and it hadn't been really taken care of. And any of y'all that's seen any of my other pics or videos up until recently, you know that the entire thing was plastic dipped. Well, since I peeled the plastic dip off of it, now I've got to deal with the previous issues. Just be clear, the plastic dip did not create any of these issues, because places that there were no problems before, there are still no problems, and the problems that are there are just the same as before I plastic dipped it. So getting that out of the way, hopefully you can see the clear coat in it is just, the surface of it's not doing great. It probably just wasn't taken care of. So my first thought was, okay, well, rubbing compound. So picked up Meguiar's rubbing compound. This is for their medium to heavy scratches and such. First thing I did was put it on just a soft sponge and do an area, and I didn't notice any improvement at all. So what I did is I got out the random orbital buffer and did a section on it. Well, okay, so this is what it looked like originally. I haven't done that. This is what it looked like after random orbital buffing. And actually I did the hand scrubbing and random orbital several times over that section, and it's still there. Now it may be slightly lighter than it was, but it's still there. So I thought, all right, got to get more aggressive on it. Y'all might have already noticed a spot right here that kind of looks clear. Okay, well, I got real aggressive with it. First thing I did was, let me get this out of the way, and my fan's blowing some off. I started with, let me get the actual stuff here. First I went with 1000 grit wet dry sandpaper. Make sure to keep the paper and the area wet. I spent maybe a couple minutes over this area right here. Okay, kind of light to medium pressure, overlapping circles, nothing real aggressive on it. Dried that off, cleaned it with simple green, and it was just you could tell it scuffed it very well. So next I went with the 2000 wet dry, and I got both of these at, I think, a Home Depot, I guess, I don't know. Again, spent only a couple minutes on, going over that same section, keeping it very wet. Scrubbed on it, wet it down, wiped it off, wet everything again, scrubbed on again, but total of just a couple minutes. And then what I did is I took the rubbing compound with the pad brush and went over it, and that's the result. What basically you're doing is just like when you're doing headlight restoration, you're taking off that surface level, which is really the part that's gone bad. Again, this is, well, here's original. This is after orbital sander. This is after 1000 grit, 2000 grit, and then rubbing compound. So that's the process I'm going to keep going forward. Once I get done, I'll put a good coat of wax on it to help prevent this going forward, and I'll actually start taking care of the hood like the previous owner didn't. But wanted to give you a little video. It's got some swirl marks in it, but that's just because the towel I used to wipe it off had rubbing compound on it, and I kind of rubbed some back on it. So anyways, based on what it took me there, it'll probably take me a good hour or so to do the hood. Once I get it done, I'll come back and show it to y'all and let you know. See you in probably a nanosecond your time. All right, y'all. Well, got her done. Well, I mean, not the entire thing, but a good portion of it. So, well, all right, that portion of it, not all that. So, good portion is not half. Anyways, I know y'all, it's only been a few seconds, but there we go. This is what it looked like to start with. All of this in here. Okay. Now some of this is maybe hard for the camera to pick up, but basically I've done everything from here to that same ridge on this side, okay? But if you can kind of see, let's see if my, kind of hard to get reflections here the way that the sun is. Let's see. So this half of the car over here has just been sanded and buffed, okay? 1000 grit, 2000 grit, and then using the Meguiar's rubbing compound. I used a combination of the terry cloth on the brush, or the soft brush on the drill, and my random orbiter. Now one thing I did do is, yeah, you really can't see it in the, but let me get to this side. Look at the reflection over here. Alright, there, it's hard to pick up in the camera, but it's a little duller than this side. This side is just in person like a mirror. The reason for the difference is on, well, from here over, roughly, I put in the Meguiar's Canuba wax on it, which is what I plan on doing over the whole thing. So I mean, and in person, you know, you might be able to see it on the camera, but you can see there's just a tad haze here, and all that is because it has nothing on it at present. And then this side has the wax and the protection on it, versus this side in here, which is, yeah, nasty. So anyways, work wise, to do that section was, I'm going to give it 45 minutes to an hour between the wet sanding of it with the 1000 grit, then to 2000, then going back over section by section with the drill and the little terry cloth. Did that a couple of times, and then the last couple were using, it's under my towel here, sorry, the orbital sander, not sander, sorry, orbital buffer, and I did that a couple times, and that really made it a nice, even, smooth finish across it. One thing I did find, that it's better to use a lot of water when you're using the rubbing compound, because it'll dry really quick. So after you don't want to buff when it's dry. So once it's dried, mist it with water, and that lets you take that off with a towel. And then between every step, I washed the entire area I was doing with Simple Green. One thing that allowed me to do is it got any residual chemicals off of it, so I could easily see if there was a spot that needed a little more attention or not. So just take your time, but you can get your fiber hood back to where it's at. And like I say, mine was in pretty rough shape because previous owner hadn't taken care of it. So hope this helps, and we'll see you on the next project.